have talked a lot about the recruitment of Odell Beckham, and Jerry this morning was like, who cares? No big deal. What happened on the plane is, do Cowboys fans want the wide receiver here? Because I have a couple of people who listen to the show who've messaged me repeatedly is like, this is a bad idea.
Hold on.
Which I don't think.
Do you have a problem with the thing that happened on the plane?
It's a little concerning. I don't believe the attorney's story of, what's the big deal? He fell asleep, no problem. And I'm like, yeah, like if cops show up and like ask you to do something, you're like, I'm not going anywhere. That, I don't always know if that's the best idea. I know in certain circumstances there could be more to it, but this did not feel like one of those deals.
Also, he didn't fight anybody. Like, it didn't become that. It was like, hey, put your seatbelt on. And he was like, no.
And then he had to be removed.
Okay, I will put it on.
Can
we please go? Can we just go? Can we just go? And they're like, nope. Now is our chance to show we don't show favoritism to anybody, especially you, if you're not going to play for the Dolphins.
So you think it was still the airline lobby or the flight attendant
I've
group?
been on airplanes, Kevin. I know about those people.
Okay.
On the airplanes. All right, so the question is, do we want him?
I mean, if we get him from the 817, fasten your seatbelt.
Yeah, it's going to be a bumpy ride. I understand the idea that signing a player with significant money, I think it's going to be significant. I don't think it's going to be something that you're just like, oh, that was nothing. It was super team friendly. I think you're going to go, oh, man, that hurt just a little bit, but not too much. I think that idea, because you're always then measuring, does he live up to the contract?
Sure.
And I think that that's part of the price you're going to have to pay to get a player and add a player like this. And that's just part of what goes into it. Now, I'm looking at this text that says he's a better third receiver than Noah Brown. Possible. Like, that's like from his history, it would say that he is a better number one than maybe even CD. But right now, he's probably a good 2B.
Yeah.
All right. And Michael Gallup has shown me in the last couple of weeks that he's shaken off a little bit of that injury, although I was very scared recently when he was laying there on the ground.
Yeah.
But he's shown me he's willing to be tough and go get the football. And there are some other things that I'm liking about what I'm seeing from Gallup. So, yeah, I want my offense to have as many options as possible. They're really good with their tight ends. So I don't think that I'm going to need Odell Beckham Jr. to go save me all the time. But I now line up and present lots of mismatches that people don't have. If you're telling me that this guy is going to come into this locker room and wreck shop on it, I think you're wrong.
Okay.
And I think you don't have a clue what this locker room really is right now. And this locker room is well defined in my mind by itself. And this goes back to the Green Bay game when Micah Parsons and Jaron Kearse stood up in front of everybody and said, this isn't good enough.
Yeah.
And then the next week during practice, Micah and on the other side, Dak said, this is what our standard's going to be and what our accountability is. I don't think Odell Beckham Jr. is going to walk in and say, my wide receiver room, fellas. You know what, Dak? I got this offense now. You know what? Nobody's throwing me the ball enough. I was here all training camp, and I never saw this coming. No, dude, he's got to come fit into this thing. And so that's where I don't think there's going to be any locker room problems with him.
My concern when I see a text like this is I don't think this is how it's going to play out, but I would love this from the 302. Beckham on a team-friendly deal, only on a team-friendly deal. It's an awesome depth piece, not a need, just based on what his agent said. Although I guess his agent probably isn't as likely to come out and go, oh yeah, we're desperate to sign wherever and we'll take any amount of money. But the number he threw out at $20 million, I think is patently absurd. But I do wonder if that is the kind of money they're looking for per year on a multi-year deal. And I know that the Cowboys are not apt to sometimes spend some of their money. From the 817, I don't want Odell here because I feel like he's going to hamper CD being a number one and get in the way of Michael Gallup gaining confidence.
He didn't really get in the way of Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, in Los Angeles. And he was spectacular in the playoffs. Like I said, I thought he was going to be the MVP of the Super Bowl. I know it was early, but before he got hurt against Cincinnati.
Think about this for a second. Just dream with me for a minute, guys.
Okay.
why did Cooper Kupp get lined up on linebackers so often? Because you had Odell Beckham on the outside and you had Robert Woods or whoever else on the other side too. And I mean, Van Jefferson became a deep threat, late in the season. So now if you want to move CeeDee Lamb around, a cornerback's not going to be chasing him because that cornerback in their defense is probably going to be lined up on one of our other wide receivers, and CeeDee Lamb's going to eat some people up. Now, the dream is you can do that with all three of the receivers, but CeeDee Lamb's probably the one that you're going to try and target and get those set up for the most, and that's going to be beneficial because now CeeDee doesn't have to be on the outside. Beckham can be that guy.
I swear it's one game that makes me want to go sign him. It's the NFC Championship game last year. Like, he was a force against San Francisco, and I mean, look, that is, I think a lot of us still think the scariest playoff foe.
I am looking at, because a lot of people are saying it's not so much for this year, it's for next year.
Then I'm not interested.
And
I agree.
I am looking at free agents to be, and it's not a good list if you're going to be shopping hard in the wide receiver free agent market. That being said, when have the Cowboys ever shopped in the free agent market when somebody cost over, let's just say, $10 million? So I look at it and I go, I just don't see how the Cowboys are going to pull this off. They don't spend in free agency. And if Odell Beckham Jr., who, let's be real here, he's at the age where a career starts coming to a close as a wide receiver. Look at Julio Jones. Look at A.J. Green. Look at the guys that came just before him, where their careers are at. And I just don't see the Cowboys spending a lot. It doesn't mean they don't want Odell Beckham Jr., but they're not going to want him at a price that he wants, to your point, Kevin, because the Cowboys just don't do that type of thing.
I'm not interested in him for the future, because if that is the metric we're working off of,
you're going to have him for the future, though.
I know, and which is fine, but I'm buying him for now.
Yeah.
And because, like, if you're looking at the big picture, all right, he hasn't had 50 catches in 3 years. And if you're looking at going into next year, it'll be 4 years. In the last 6 years, he's had more than 50 catches twice.
If this website is right, Spotrac, Juju Smith-Schuster is maybe the best wide receiver on the free agent market.
Oh, crap.
Yeah, so...
And I like Juju. I mean,
he has
I have a card of him right here.
He has the most yards so far. Your other guys are Jacoby Myers, Alan Lazard, Mac Hollins, and Darius Slayton. Those are your top 5 receiving yards that are going to be free agents.
And so, and like, I mean, and maybe Beckham helps you out in the future and like rock on, that would be great. I'll just speak for me. I feel like you make this move because you think you can win the Super Bowl now.
Yes.
And that is the only reason they are making this move. Now, the rest of it, fall as it may, hopefully he stays healthy, like rock on with all of that. But you want to get him now because you think he can play in the next month and make an impact in the playoffs.
And yes, this is acid raindrops by people under the stairs. Just wanted to throw that out there for you. If you're hearing this beat underneath us, what we're discussing. But yeah, the only reason, and Kevin, I want to also add this: how much of a long play would it be for Stephen Jones at the end of the year to go, we just added this receiver, but we'd been talking about this pretty much since the entany offseason. When we moved on from Amari Cooper, we knew this was going to happen all along. And look at what we just, how many teams typically add a receiver like that this late in the season? Now, I guess my biggest thing, there are two things. How quickly you implement him in the offense. I think he can run a bunch of routes. I don't think he has a problem with that. How does he connect with Dak Prescott quickly? They got to get that moving fast. And I don't know if you guys agree with me. I mean, did Amari Cooper and him hit it off immediately, or did it take him a minute?
I felt like that impact could be felt pretty quickly.
And I agree. I want this for this run because you have a top 3 defense. You just added a potent wide receiver to an already good group. It should be better for you in the future, or even maybe for just this season. I don't know. How healthy can he stay? The injuries are definitely a concern for a lot of people that are texting in, and that's where you just really have to trust the medicals. You have to trust Britt Brown. You have to trust that group with what they do. And, Cowboys have been known to take some risks there and it work out and also not work out.
Sure. Now, we did promise some of the...
Read them all.
Oh, my gosh.
Read every one of them.
There are
and text back to everybody, too.
So many. From the 682, no. From the 817, absolutely want Odell Beckham. From the 469, yes, I want Odell Beckham as well. From the 972, and I think that this is the way a lot of people feel as well, is they're like, I just want a decision to be made. Is I'm fine with it either way, just be done with it. And that is totally what I get. But I realized, we hadn't really gone to the people about, do you want this or not? We talked a lot about it, and my God, don't you wish that meeting was yesterday and not next Monday? Because it feels like we still have a week to go, and that's problematic. But it looks like there are a lot of texts. It's about 55 to 60% go for it.
Man, that's and the most reasons to not go for it. The pros cons list says injury and diva, and those are the things that we're not that concerned about. Is that that's where I kind of stand on that? Is the injury I am concerned about for the future because I don't know how that works, but I have no problem with the diva part of it.
And I don't really have a problem with the injury part, because when people bring that up, and I 100% get why, that's the future, right? For once, we're here. Let's just sell out and let's go for it. The Cowboys have been mediocre to good for years and years and years and years. You see a chance. You think this could be great. Jerry said it. Steven said that. I believe that. I know a lot of other people do as well. Just sell out, man. Spend your money. And I don't mean sell out like getting Odell Beckham as a sellout. I mean use all of your assets. He's available. He could upgrade your team. The hell with carrying over salary cap space. Go for it.